President Biden sending a new warning to Vladimir Putin.
Russia would be making an incredibly serious mistake if we're to use a tactical nuclear weapon. I'm not guaranteeing you that it's a false flag operation yet. Don't know. But it would be a serious, serious mistake.
That remark from the president in response to Moscow's claims that Ukrainian troops are planning to use radioactive dirty bombs on their own territory. The U.S. and its allies have rejected that accusation as transparently false. But all of this comes as Ukraine now accuses the Russians of preparing a terrorist act at Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Russian forces have occupied the Zaporizhzhia power plant since early in March. According to Ukraine nuclear energy operator, Russian officers carried out secret work over just the last week at the plant's dry spent fuel storage facility. That holds 174 containers, each with 24 spent nuclear fuel assemblies. Should an explosion destroy those containers, Ukrainian energy officials warn that could trigger a radiation accident and contamination. NBC News has not independently confirmed these claims. And the White House says it does not see any evidence now that Russia is preparing to use a nuke. But there's a lot of talk. Evelyn Farkas is with us now, executive director at the McCain Institute at the Arizona State University. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me, Shep.
Also former Deputy Secretary of State in Eurasia, lots of titles, lots of knowledge. And what I want to know is, do you buy these threats? Is this a setup for a false flag, or is it just a distraction, or what is it?
It makes me nervous because if you remember in the beginning of this latest phase of the war, the Russians were saying that the Ukrainians were going to use chemical weapons.
Yeah.
This is similar, where they're trying it out to see whether the West and the world will believe that the Ukrainians would possibly do this. And so the pushback is really important to signal to the Russians, we're not going to believe you. The world is not going to believe you. We know that all this information is coming from you, not from any intelligence we have about what the Ukrainians are doing.
And that they're in there scratching around the Russians around nuclear waste. I mean, you don't do that for nothing.
Right. So what is scarier about it what's really scary about it is when the Russians say their opponent is going to do X or Y, it usually means they're thinking about doing it themselves. And so that's why we were worried about the chemical weapons. That's why we're worried about the nuclear material. And the Russians are the ones that control that nuclear facility in Zaporizhzhia. So the Ukrainians wouldn't really have that much say over what's happening there.
You've advocated for a no-fly zone.
Right.
In fact, you did right from the beginning. Do you still think that's necessary, or is Ukraine getting the air defenses now that it needs?
I think a no-fly zone may not be necessary, but I don't think that Ukraine is getting the air defenses that it needs right now. So I think we're doing a better job helping them. If Israel would provide the Iron Dome, there are also other things. We could provide the Patriot system. I know that these things take some time and training, but I think our governments are smart enough to figure it out. The no-fly zone is riskier because then you're actually going in there and you're having to enforce it, which means potentially hitting down Russians.
Yeah, and then we're in the war. Like
well,
fully
not necessarily, because the Turks...
You shoot down a Russian, you know.
Well, the Turks did it in 2015, and the Russians didn't go to war with them. But I agree with you. We don't want to risk that.
Yeah. Hey, one more thing. You saw this letter that the 30 progressive Democrats on the Hill urging President Biden to negotiate with Russia. They pulled it back. And they got a lot of blowback from their own party.
Yeah.
But are peace talks, is that not even in the question? That's out of the question, peace talks?
Right now it is,
Has
Shep,
to be,
because,
right?
Yeah, because the Russians are losing, but Vladimir Putin doesn't think he's losing. He always wants to fight for another day. If he can hang in there, he will. And the Ukrainians, of course, are winning. So they're not going to be interested in any kind of compromise. So there's no real... prospect for peace. I know the administration is always looking, and our allies are always looking for an opportunity. That's why I think the letter was not only a gift to Putin, frankly, at this moment in time, but it was also unnecessary.
Yeah. Evelyn Farkas.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here at the headquarters.
It's fun to be in Jersey.
Thank you. Shep Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.